2-day camping trip with the young fella. We were going to go into Willow Tree, camp there for 2 nights, but decided to venture up the road. I'd call this a second camp, Wallabadah. Nice free camp recreation area, which lies in the Liverpool Plains Shire. Plan is to head towards Corindai, possibly through Werris Creek, Wallabadah, and onto Tamworth before heading to Coffs Harbour. Here we are, guys, second day in Wallabadah. I'm just going to take you for a walk through the memorial gardens. So this is a First Fleet Memorial Garden. A lot of names on these lists. There's plaques, or I guess name plaques, scattered throughout the gardens. A little pathway goes through. This campsite is pretty much a donation. Gold coin, even just a little bit of money to help them maintain the parks. There's 6 parks, free camp parks or recreational areas scattered throughout the Liverpool Plains Shire. We're at the number, or I'll call this number 2, which is Wallabadah. Back down the road where we're going to stay the first night for the 2 days was Willow Tree recreational area. The lady at the information centre, who was really helpful, sort of instructed us to go a little bit further up the road, even to Corindai, for a bit of a nicer place, a little bit more, I guess, family orientated. There's pubs, there's a few pubs along the way, but some that are quite close to the camp areas, which is obviously a monopoly to make the money. But we'll go in through the garden. There's donation boxes at both entries. I believe there's only 2 entries into the garden, might be a third one. Gold coin, or pay your $15. Go to the information centre and see the lovely people there. Pay your $15 and get your powered site. Now, we paid it $15 a night for a powered site because we were going to stay at Willow Tree, but we decided to come up here to Wallabadah. It does have a few little power stations around with running water next to them, but the first one we pulled up to, it obviously had short-circuited and obviously it was melted, and a few others scattered around the place. There's actually some inside the memorial gardens here, so I'm thinking maybe they could have been part of the campsites themselves. Now, you can't actually camp inside these memorial gardens, but at some point I think those power poles and the water outlets were there for that reason. So we'll go into the garden, we will have a look around, we'll look at the facilities, amenities and stuff that are available to us as a free camp. A lot of people stop in here just for, you know, a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and a bit of lunch or just a snack. It is a rest stop as well as a recreation. Pretty much this entry here, which is the main one we've been using to use the facilities or the amenities at this recreational site, you'll see here there is a donation box, which it's pretty much only fit for coins anyway. So gold coin donation always goes a long way to help maintain these gardens. So as you can see, we've got name plaques that are placed around the gardens. There is quite a number of pathways, or it actually winds in and out and goes through the gardens. And you've got, if I was to start at the other end, I'd start alphabetically and walk through the gardens. Well, this is pretty much out of order anyway. So there's surnames of Scott, Thomas, Youngson, Manning, Marriott, Allen, Baldwin. A lot of rosemary growing here in the gardens. So part of the First Fleet is why this memorial garden is here. very interesting. I mean, not a lot to look at apart from a lot of names and stuff that you see here. You can see there's a power station and tap. Up underneath that dome is, I think, about 4 outlets to plug into power. So I'm thinking that these quite possibly could have been part of being able to camp inside these within the garden itself. Obviously not for RVs and caravans, but you probably could have just set up with a swag or a tent and had your powered sites. $15 a night. It is considered on the higher end for some people. Officially opened on the 26th of January 2005. So yeah, previous to 2005, maybe you were able to camp inside this area here. Maybe it wasn't fenced off, and it was open for use of the power and the water. You know, you've got 6 picnic tables there, shade sails over the top that you can just sort of, as a rest stop in and have a rest, and or you can come up into the gardens and make yourself some lunch while you're in here camping. People prefer to stay outside the perimeter, even when they're stopping in for a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Probably just a little bit easier anyway. So there's tables and electric barbecues on the outside perimeter. So it's pretty well set up for a free camp. So they solely pretty much rely on donations to keep this open and running. Facilities for people stopping in just for even an hour or two, and especially overnight. So, list of convicts sent to New South Wales in 1787. The amount of names that are on these boards it just blows me away. Without coming here and not really looking at the history of what sort of with the first fleet, you wouldn't know, unless you're really interested in this sort of thing. And it gives you descriptions of with a deaf commuted, how long they spent. So there's sentencing notes and where they were convicted. So you got Launceston. Got one here, escaped from Sydney, London, Old Bailey, Dorchester, Guildford, Exeter. A lot of them from Exeter. That must have been one of the main ports or one of the main areas over there that they've commuted from. Enlighten me what deaf commuted means. I'll go and do the research, but to me, I don't completely understand it. Down here we've got one here. First man hung in New South Wales. He was convicted in Exeter. Came over on the ship named Charlotte. So there's quite a few ships in that fleet. Forenames and aliases is Thomas James. Surname Barrett. From what I can see there, it's a little bit hard to understand how these names formate on these lists, on these boards, but just it goes on to a bit of an information board, and then the names continue around. Absolutely blows my mind. I am here with the young fella, 14 years old, probably not really interested in these sorts of things, but I just had to come over and have a real good look at it. So 1787, 13th of May 1787 to the 26th of January 1788. So the voyage was determined around 3 landfalls: Canary Islands, Rio de Janeiro and Cape Town, followed by the long leg to Botany Bay. So sort of up here, travelling down around, ported in Brazil, Cape Town, South Africa, and then on to Sydney, Port Botany, and just reading some of the things that just the highlights, I guess, of the journeys and some of the people involved, whether they were convicts or they were people who were part of getting these guys over here. A statement here: we have had a few trials and plenty of floggings, but I believe the devil's in them and can't be flogged out. So some people were just absolutely battered over and over, just to try and beat the evil out of them, I guess. A list of supplies and provisions. 700 iron shovels, 700 garden hose, 5 rabbits, 32 pigs, 19 goats, 44 sheep, 1 bull calf, 1 bull, 4 cows, 2 stallions, 4 mares. They had puppies, kittens, 87 chickens, fowls and ducks, tools, banana, cocoa, coffee, cotton, guava, lemon, orange, prickly pears, tamarind, sugar cane, strawberries, 8 brams of rice, 15 tons of drinking water, and then the list goes on of these people that were sentenced, incarcerated. Just absolutely blows my mind. And then the remainder of the list is those who have served. So officers, men, and families of the First Fleet. So Marine privates, lieutenants of the Marine, servants to the surgeon, Marine private, farers, seamen, assistant surgeon, quartermaster, a gunner's mate, ship gunners, cook. Crazy. One here sent home sick from Rio, so they got as far as Rio and was sent home. Fell overboard on voyage. One sent back to escort HMS Hyena. One was deserted at Rio, must have got off the ship and never got back on. Anyway, that's bit of history behind this free camp here, Wallabadah. Cheers. Alright, so a little bit of the campground. Plenty of room. Plenty of room to pull in. I'm not sure there's a dump point here. There'd be a dump point back back towards the first camp. I do apologise if the wind's coming up on the recording. I hope it's not, because it's going to make editing quite hard. So there could be a dump point back at Willow Tree near the information centre. They generally have a dump point around those areas. Well, I know they do back in Newcastle, particularly up around the Maitland area. But it's playgrounds for the kids. There's one there, one a little bit further over with swings and stuff. Electric barbecues, there is bins, ample room. They came through a mode yesterday, but they didn't come right down to where we were. And we're right on the river, looking like we're going to get some bad weather. It was nice yesterday, but yeah, a little bit windy today. Still a nice place. thinking of packing up our little camp down here. There's a young fella still sitting there on his phone. He's having a good time, I know he is. Thinking of pulling down the awning tent and just getting the swags out for tonight. Might be a little bit easier to pack up and store if we get the rain. It's a little bit wet. But yeah, we're right on the river here. Good morning, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the East Coast Camp Chasers. We are here now in Coffs Harbour. Done the 2 days at Wallabadah. Forgot to edit in the amenities there at the campground. So there is women's, men's and disabled toilets, hot showers, at least 3 hot showers, 3 sit-down toilets in the women's. I didn't actually go in and check that out, but going off what was in the males, we had 2 sit-down toilets, 2 urinals and the 3 shower cubicles. So I'm assuming the ladies might just have the extra sit-down toilet and maybe an extra shower possibly, but definitely had everything that we needed for the 2 days. Baby change table was located inside the disabled toilet, so there's everything there to sort of cater for the young families as well, with kids, and obviously maybe kids that are in nappies or diapers. So yeah, definitely we'll endeavour to visit the other 5. And we sort of visited the first one, which is Willow Tree, and ventured up a little bit further to stay in Wallabadah. So there's at least 4 or 5 more to visit in the Liverpool Plains Freedom Campgrounds Shire. Really good incentive for those who haven't discovered it yet to actually get out there and have a go. Just a basic camp, even these, particularly if you're coming from Newcastle, or if you're coming south, east or west from to those areas, heading up north from somewhere, always willing to accommodate people for a couple of days. Definitely worth a look at. We will venture out and discover a whole lot more of them. There is so many available within 2 to 2.5 hours, 3 hours at the most. Go to Nundle. Nundle's not far from the Liverpool Plains either. Corindai, sort of all in that area. Definitely still nice places to venture out. Probably something you want to do in the cooler months. It does get quite warm out there. We've hit 27 yesterday in Coffs Harbour, so it's still certainly got some warm weather about. So we've ventured out. We've done the 10-pin bowling, axe throwing, fishing and driving range here in Coffs Harbour. So just me and the young fella on this trip. Do a bit of bonding, testing each other out at times, but that's what it's all about. That's family, and seeing who does the best at all these activities. We wish we had more activities to do while we were camping. We didn't pack any playing cards, Uno or anything like that. We did have bocce, and we played a really good solid game of bocce. Had a lot of fun doing that. So yeah, definitely worth having a look at the Liverpool Plains Freedom Camp areas. Cheers.